What if meaning slips the moment you try to pin it down? If structuralism built a clean map with rules, binaries, stable codes, post-structuralism flips the table and asks who drew that map, with what power, and why it keeps changing. The promise of a neat system fractures under pressure of context, history, and interpretation keep rewriting the rules mid-game. Born from the fires of the Sorbonne in '68, it learned to mistrust maps that claim to match the territory. A structuralist might try to track the hierarchy of a religious order, trying to show how power flowed from the central power of God down to priests, to deacons, to the laity. Post-structuralism challenged the concept that power, truth, and holiness radiate from a central source through clearly defined channels. A post-structuralist like Michel Foucault challenges the traditional view that something like sexual sin is a divine mandate handed down from a transcendent source like God's holy word. Sin is produced from the ground up instead, generated by the institution of confessional speech. Therefore, sin's definition comes not from a single God, but from the cumulative disclosures of billions of penitents globally. Structuralism picks one central defining characteristic, defines a whole conceptual structure around it, and then relegates people to the position they occupy in that structure, a bit like the military, where you as a soldier are reduced to your rank and assignment. The decentralized view of post-structuralism introduces significant complexity. If sin is defined not by a single divine text, but by the diverse and potentially conflicting understandings of millions of individuals confessing their sins, it becomes exceedingly difficult to establish any certain, overarching definition of sin as a universal category. The movement faced criticism, not only for the notoriously dense and inaccessible prose favored by many of its theorists, but also for its tendency to fall into structuralism's old traps. By emphasizing decentred bottom-up non-structures, often envisioned by thinkers like Deleuze and Guattari as formless rhizomes rather than threes, post-structuralism sometimes underestimated the enduring influence of top-down power. But they acknowledge that the confessional space in a church is absolutely necessary part of this power structure, demonstrating that the process is not purely a bottom-up phenomenon. It's not God who makes something a sin, but the practices of the individual who confesses to it. Derrida talks about difference. Julia Kristeva introduces intertextuality, and Baudrillard analyzes simulacra and hyperreality. And there are many other edgy figures in this space that you can check out. If you enjoyed the content, you can help out by giving a like, share, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.